Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, welcome. Gary here for Bizarre Brain Comics. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics. Talk a little about the creators, the characters, and the stories, and break down the art. Now this time, I want to talk a little bit about something different. This right here. The Cartoon History of the Universe by Larry Gonic. Published by the Ripoff Press. And I guess, since it's published by a Ripoff Press, that kind of makes it an underground comic, don't it? Even the style of art is in keeping with underground cartoonists. Well, let's take a look in the big book of knowledge. Okay. The Cartoon History of the Universe is a comic book series describing an abbreviated history of the world created by Larry Gonic, who's a professor, cartoonist, and mathematician. The series was begun in 1978, published by the Ripoff Press. Each issue explains a period of history in loose chronological order. The series was then compiled into a series of trade paperback books, several hundred pages in length. And the series has been translated into many languages. And the brain behind all this was Larry Gonic, who was born in 1946. And he created this, the series, The Cartoon History of the Universe, which ran from 1977 or 78. Earlier, my source said 78, and here says 77. He's probably started doing it in 77. And it ran through 2009. It is, he has also written The Cartoon History of the U.S. In addition, he has co-written books on other subjects, such as the Cartoon Guide to Genetics. And he's done a lot of cartoon information type books. And because of these, he has become known as one of the best known cartoonists applying his craft to the science education and communication. He was born in San Francisco, and he studied mathematics at Harvard, earning a bachelor's degree in 1967 and a master's degree in 69. From 90 to 97, he created the Science Classics comic strip, which appeared in Discover magazine, which is a science magazine. And he's done a lot of other things in there. Those are just some of the highlights. So, here we go. Through the time machine to witness the humorous aspects of world history and the cartoon history of the universe. Okay, here we go with the cartoon history of the universe. And I have here the first several volumes that are in standard comic book format. Now these were started reprinting in a little better quality in 87. Yeah, they're done on better quality paper and cardstock covers, which replaced ones like this. This is the only one I have like this. This is from the earlier the first printing, because this particular issue was printed in 1979. It's got the standard glossy cover stock and the standard pulp type paper interior instead of the nicer paper interior that these had. And this is the only volume 3. That's the only one I've got like that. All the others were from the reprint. And so I have volumes 1 through 7. The Evolution of Everything, Sticks and Stones, which is the Descent of People, River Realms, part of the Old Testament, Brains and Bronze, Who Are the Athenians, and All About Athens. And then I also have, I think I have 4 volumes of the trade paperback, such as this. This volume starts after this. I think I have 1 through 4, and supposed to be up through, I think, volume 8. After a while, they stopped doing it in the standard comic book format, and he would work for a year or whatever it took him to do just one volume, and they completed that in 2009. And when it got up to more contemporary times, it was the cartoon history of the modern world, I think is what they called it then. And of course, it's kind of funny. It's the cartoon history of the universe, and yet only the first volume actually deals with the history of the universe. After that is the history of or world history. And of course, this is volume 1, and it starts with a bang. But let me show you this first, though. Inside the front page, he introduces himself, talks about a time machine, which is just a this cabinet filled with books, and he travels through time in his imagination. This is his cartoon interpretation of himself, Larry Gonic. And like I said, it starts with everything. That's the whole universe right there. In just one little itty-bitty, tiny, what would be known in physics as a singularity. And then it, boom, big bang. yeah. So it starts right there. Briefly follows the history of what the way the universe was formed, and then the sun and our planets, especially planet Earth, was formed, and then eventually how life came, possibly how life came about. And it's done straightforward, but it is done humorously. It is funny. Of course, his cartoon style is cartoonish. He puts little jokes and stuff in there, which are funny, like here, the way some microbes are chomping on other microbes, etc., on through life, up to and through the dinosaurs. And you got to remember, I don't think he mentions it specifically here, but okay, the Earth is roughly about 4.5 billion years old, and for almost 3 billion, right about 3 billion of those years, it was a microscopic. Life was all microscopic. So less than a billion years has life been larger than that. And then once it did get bigger and the atmosphere formed, an oxygen atmosphere formed, which killed off a lot of the life that already existed, but gave opportunities for more life, then it really exploded. Virtually, because it still took millions of years. And some of the science, a lot of the science is outdated. Even a lot of the history is outdated now. But, oh, it's funny here. Like, these critters starting having sex, going from just she laying eggs and he fertilizing the eggs to them actually having physical copulation, etc. Through the dinosaurs. Oh yeah. Development of birds, etc. And then this first volume covers, oh, there's some nice stuff there. Because he has a really, because there it's pretty realistic. And of course, now we know these these critters. It's got some flowers. Blooming flowers hadn't been evolved yet, but flowers because he's looking for a mate. And very nicely drawn, nice cartoonish style. Put in lots of humor, lots of nice detail. Oh, here's an ostrich-like dinosaur sticking its head in the dirt. Even ostriches don't really do that. But up through the extinction, and I think this was done before the discovery of the comet. I mean the asteroid impact in Yucatan, which 65 million years ago, which was the end of the age of the dinosaurs, and onto the age of birds and mammals. All kinds of stuff. And this first volume goes right up to the very beginnings of the earliest hominids. It's fun, real fun. Here we go, Sticks and Stones. And starts with and covers mostly human evolution. Again, a lot of this is very dated because this was from the 70s, and so much physical anthropology has changed since then. But I want to tell you how I was first introduced to the cartoon history of the universe. I was in college for a year, and a local college, and a friend of mine she was taking anthropology classes, and she showed me this thing that she got from the library, or was reading in the library, and I told me I'd enjoy it, and because she knew I was into comics and stuff, and I went. They couldn't leave it, remove it from the library. I had to read it right there, which I did, but it was a Xerox copy of parts of this volume for the physical anthropology class. I kid you not. This was part of the curriculum for a college anthropology course. And it's just an introduction, of course. But I really enjoyed that. And so, and like I said, it was just a Xerox copy. He had found it, or someone had given it to him, and he Xeroxed it and put it in there. And of course, a year or two later is when I was able to finally find it. And I love this, not just this, I love all of the stuff, because it's funny, but it's factual, at least factual for the time when it was created. And Larry Gonic, he of course really researched everything. And here we go into early civilizations. You can see it works well. His artwork works well. Nice art style, consistency, and he did a lot of research for the costuming, the locations, and what the cities, etc., would have looked like. And in my personal opinion, this stuff should be required reading, at least for high school history, because it covers a lot of stuff we never touched on in history class in high school, when I was in high school. And it's nice Yeah, there's some nice rendering explaining how the Egyptian hieroglyphics came about, etc. And of course, a lot of the stuff in history has changed. Like, for example, here is a whole volume on part of the Old Testament, and some of it is still relatively accurate, and some of it is not. Especially since, of course, he is Jewish, and he grew up Jewish, and he may have grown up believing a lot of the stuff in here. It keeps out, does not have any of the magical miracle stuff from the Old Testament. It's just who and where and the like. But it does cover like Moses and Abraham and the like, the patriarchs of the Old Testament, which even most religious real academic historians realize now were legendary characters, not historical characters, because there is no history outside of the Bible and tradition, and no archaeology to back it up. But that's fine. It's still a good read. It's very, like I said, the whole thing is very educational, and I like. And seeing it on the backside, it gives you a preview of what's coming next. Looks like he had a little bit of influence of the Simpsons there, although this would have been before the Simpsons. Well, it was published in '87, but it was probably the early '80s when the original one was published. So it would have been before the Simpsons, but that figure right there looks a lot like Simpsons character. And again here, showing some of the art, talking about the Hellenistic art, the ancient Greek, how people lived. This looks like the Spartans right here. And censored some of the other stuff. But it's a lot of fun. It's very, very informative. And like I said, if I had my way, this would be required reading in high school, at least high school, possibly middle school, at least parts of it for history, because it does go much more in depth than real, and it's a lot more interesting and more memorable than the dry text and the dates and etc. that you get in out of regular textbooks. Here we got cover India. We never covered much of India or China in high school history, but they do here. Republicans talk. Oh, Babylon, and all this ancient history stuff. This is what's just mostly gets glossed over in history classes, and in the later ones, I don't know how well it covers more recent history, because I've never seen those beyond the fourth volume of this. I think it's the fourth volume of this. I've never seen anything, but I know they exist. I could probably easily get them if I wanted to. Really want to, I'd like to. And I just really enjoy reading this stuff. And if nothing else, it's a good introduction for children or young people, and to an appreciation for science and history. This one's my favorite, of course, because I'm really into like the human evolution, but I'm a big fan of dinosaurs too. So these two together are my favorites, just because it has dinosaurs and the ape men. See, that's funny. Just trying to learn how to get down and walk on two legs, and he trips himself up, and that gag is used to get in on the inside. It's a lot of fun. Larry Gonic is a great cartoonist, and the way I'm surprised he doesn't have, maybe he does have something on mathematics too. I think that would be a little more difficult to put into comic book format. But that should serve as a nice introduction, and I really encourage you, even if you just want to get interested in history, this would be your introduction to it. Even discusses, like in ancient Greek, when it talks about the philosophers, has some discussion about their philosophies and the like, just briefly. So it is a lot of fun, very, very informative. It's like this is what the medium was invented for, really. And has been used as a teaching tool. The military during World War II used some comic material produced specifically for them for training soldiers. So it works, and I hope you like that. Go out and find you some. It's so much fun, and good introduction to history. And remember, comics are history as well as art.